Hey there, Omega Level Nerds. How's it going? Of course, Don here with you for another Omega Level Nerds show, podcast, whatever you like to call it nowadays. So, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, has released. Of course, I did do a spoiler-free review. Heck, I was in my car right after the movie. Went into my car, recorded that spoiler review for you, so go check that out if you haven't already. If you haven't seen the movie, that's definitely what you want to view, rather than what we'll be talking about today is spoilers of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. So I definitely want to get into some pros and cons of the film. Real quick recap of my spoiler-free review. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a good entry into the MCU. Wasn't great, wasn't endgame, didn't expect it to be. So I gave it, what I feel is a pretty positive review, 7 out of 10. Maybe 8 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10 would be more appropriate, but I stand by what I gave it, which I think it is a good to very good MCU entry. I enjoyed it. Of course, on Rotten Tomatoes here, we have a tomato meter of 48%, so not doing too good amongst the critics, but audience score, people like me, 84%. So actually, if we could say that's an 8.4 out of 10, it actually scores it better than what I had it. So all in all, I think everyone that has seen the movie does agree with my overall, opinion of it, which is it's a good entry into the MCU. But there are pros, so let's go ahead. Let's go with the what was kind of bad first, and then we'll start off on a positive level, right? So, cons. The CGI was pretty bad in some scenes. A lot of things looked very good, particularly in the background. But the character CGI was lacking. And I had read something that basically the staff that was responsible for doing the CGI was overworked, over deadline. They wanted to use resources from that team for another movie. So from what I understand, the CGI in the movie is somewhat rushed and very apparent when you watch the movie. Again, I did say this was spoilers, so if you still haven't jumped off the train yet and you don't want spoilers, you got to do it. So Modoc is in the movie, and that's not really a spoiler. We had seen images online, consume every little bit of gotta get the news, gotta get what so, we do that here online. And, yeah, we saw in the trailers Modoc. Bad part of this movie. I did not agree with what they did with Modoc. The first thing, he's supposed to be kind of this terrifying entity, although this is a lighter movie with comedic elements, for sure. But this was not one that worked. First thing you do, you see, his butt, But beyond that, I really do not like the choice that they made where Modoc is Darren, who was Yellow Jacket from the first movie. Okay? That's who Modoc is behind that mask. And, I kind of knew that was going to be the case going in, and you probably do too. But so I didn't like that choice right out of the bat. You have Patton Oswalt. If you're just going to, Shark Boy and Lava Girl somebody's face into, some CGI like that, you could have had Patton Oswalt do it. He did the voice for the Hulu series. So to me, this direction to make the villain from the first movie, now Modoc, it missed by a mile as far as I'm concerned. Missed by a mile. As far as the comedy goes, I mean, I'm kind of, I guess, wrapping this all into one because that Modoc character is supposed to be very comedic. So I'm sure that's, but the comedy in general, I didn't have a lot of laugh out loud moments in this movie. I didn't at all, if any. And it certainly wasn't from Modoc. They did the dick jokes. Oh, it's never too late to be less of a dick. Like, that's very hacky to me. They did the dick joke in Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, so repeating not the exact same dick joke, but repeating another dick joke here with this ridiculous Modoc. Yeah, it's not. It took away from the movie. It didn't add to the movie. And then lastly, my biggest one of my biggest cons here is that Hope Van Dyne's Wasp suit still has a penis on it. So I'm not sure why that never really got the redesign. It's pretty blatant. Penis. Big yellow penis, actually, right in the mid section there. Okay, so that's what I didn't like about the movie. So I didn't like the CGI. I thought they really misstepped with how Modoc was handled. And Hope Van Dyne still has a penis on her suit. Here is what I liked about the movie, okay? Because I gave it a 7 out of 10. I said it's a good MCU entry. Well written with a good plot. Okay, this movie does have a very good plot. I'm going to give you a short synopsis of it right now, which is, Scott Lang's daughter, who is heavily featured in this movie, she made this device that searched the quantum realm and sent a signal down there. Now, once Janet Van Dyne learns of this, and we've all seen, there were teaser trailers with this on it, but she's concerned once she hears that it's sending a signal out. The reason why she is concerned is because when Janet Van Dyne, the original Wasp, was stuck in the quantum realm, she met Kang the Conqueror. Now, when they first met, they were just two people kind of stranded in the quantum realm, but come to find out, he was exiled, even though they still exiled him with this time-traveling chair of his. But the power supply is busted, and so Janet Van Dyne partners with Kang to fix this power supply, therefore fix this time-traveling chair, therefore Kang can get out of the quantum realm and do what he has to do. Now, while she's working on this power device for his time-traveling chair, she somehow sees his mind and sees why he was exiled, sees that he was Kang the Conqueror who conquered worlds, who conquered whole universes in the multi-universe. So she uses the PIM technology to shrink it, blow it up, something crazy like that. She breaks this power supply, and and as we all know, she then at some point later escaped the quantum realm, leaving Kang the Conqueror kind of in there to terrorize everything. And of course, so with her granddaughter now, Scott Lang's daughter, with this new device, that's how they all get sucked into the quantum realm, because it sends a signal into the quantum realm. Kang saw it. Kang needs Janet Van Dyne and the PIM particles to fix his time-traveling chair. So knowing somehow that was Janet Van Dyne or something to do with her, he brings them all into the quantum realm, and then boom. So that's kind of the whole adventure, is getting away from this Kang the Conqueror in the quantum realm. That way he doesn't escape and wreak havoc across the multiverse. So there you go. I thought it was a very, very well written plot. I enjoyed that a lot. The next thing is, of course, that they've announced that one of the Avengers, the upcoming Avengers movie, is going to be Avengers Secret Wars. So we definitely get things that happen in this movie that let us know, this is happening. The two biggest things there are the fact Kang does explain, some things and mentions the fact that these universes were having these incursions. And that was exactly what was happening at the beginning of the Secret Wars story arc. Now, Kang didn't have much to do with that. That was something on a whole nother level. But apparently in the MCU, he's going to have quite a bit to do with it. Because, so again, spoiler alerts here, there are two end credits to this movie. The first one shows other versions of Kang, Immortus, Ramatut, this other, I can't remember the name right now, but we see these other Kangs, and, they're like worried because the Avengers, or not even the Avengers, but just like the Ant people, Ant-Man, the Wasp, Hope Van Dyne, all that, they were able to kill another Kang. Now, a Kang that they were, at odds with, that they had exiled, but nonetheless, they're seeing like that these Earth humans are actually getting powerful enough to the point where they're actually able to kill other Kangs. And then they actually mention that, they're starting to touch the multiverse. So again, gives us, more info as far as how this is going to proceed, why Secret Wars is going to happen. And at least right now we've got these legions of Kang, because this end credit scene, the first one, shows all these different sort of Kang. Jonathan Majors is playing all sorts of different sorts of Kangs. You see him everywhere. And I'll get into more, at least Jonathan Majors part of it here. But yeah, so we see that in the first end credit scene. And then in the second end credit scene, the biggest reveal there is that one of the Kangs, Mr. Timely, goes back into like the early 1900s, late 1800s, and he's like showing this time device. But in the crowd of people, seeing this time device is Loki and Mobius, anyway, from the TVA. So we get to see Loki at the second end credits of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, which, although honestly the theater I went to maybe had 10 people, I did hear one of those people say, oh my God, the whole movie was worth seeing, that, Loki at the end, that Loki was returning. I'm not of that camp, but, there are certainly a lot of people out there that are excited about that. Scarlet Centurion is the other Kang we see. I should have consulted my notes here. Yes, Ramatut, Immortus, and Scarlet Centurion. So, don't know why I didn't look at that. Victor Timely. Yeah, that was the Kang that goes back in time. So, my last bullet point, as far as the things that I really like about this movie, the pros and cons. Jonathan Majors does a spectacular acting job as all the different Kangs, as Kang in general. As the one we saw in the Loki series, all the different ones we get to see in this movie in the end credits. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because, we saw a Creed 3 trailer before this, so it looked like he was doing a great job in that as well. But yeah, boy, I think he should get an Oscar. He really, if that Academy is worth anything at all, is of any relevance anymore, they will give Jonathan Majors an Oscar. Straight up. His range, everything about him, his emotions, everything is just on point and excellent. So, yeah, I'll be looking to see if Jonathan Majors wins that Oscar that he should get. I liked it. I liked it a whole lot better than Eternals. I liked it better than the She-Hulk show. Thor: Love and Thunder. I would say that I liked it better than Thor: Love and Thunder, because Thor: Love and Thunder to me, for all that you may criticize about Thor: Love and Thunder, I think the biggest thing that I noticed, and I don't want to say I didn't like, but just it didn't move really the overall MCU, down a path where, and we saw that, leading up to Endgame, and, that's really kind of what we're all clamoring for right now with, this Phase 4 and going into Phase 5, hopefully not Phase Jive. But we like, seeing it going toward this direction of Secret Wars, getting to the next baddie, which is funny because, at the end, this Kang the Conqueror is killed, but obviously there's a whole lot more Kang figures out there that we can see where we're getting this, multi-universal existential threat to the MCU, and to see how the Avengers and how the heroes are going to deal with it is an interesting prospect. Now, I don't know where the hell the X-Men are, since they should have been here already, and I would like to see some good MCU X-Men stuff before I leave this earth, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. Hey, we'll at least get Deadpool 3, Hugh Jackman, and Ryan Reynolds, which should be an absolute scream. I mean, and, my buddy Colossus should be in that movie as he was in the first 2 Deadpools. So hopefully that trend continues. But I think that is going to be awesome for sure. What did you think of the movie, though? I gave it a 7 out of 10. Do you think I was too nice? Do you think I was too mean? What did you think of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Did you like what you saw in the end credits? Give me your score down in the comments. Tweet at the show at Omega Level Nerds, or you can email the show omegalevelnerds@gmail.com. Let me know what you think there. So, as you know, or you may not know, but you could probably guess, if you've seen at least a couple of these shows, that I am a huge Star Wars fan. As I record this, it is February 24th, 2023, which means, because this is a short month, of course, that we are ever approaching the debut of Mandalorian Season 3. So I'm just expressing my excitement for that generally. You see all the promo images, all the Mandalorians and whatnot. Hopefully you've watched the Book of Boba Fett, which, has a fair amount of Mandalorian, Din Djarin, Grogu character progression in there. So hopefully you saw that. Looks like we're going to see Bo-Katan and all the other Mandalorians. But I'm just excited as hell for Mandalorian Season 3. You can bet your bottom dollar. But what I'm also excited about is, of course, Ahsoka. Now, we knew that series was coming out. Ahsoka happens to be one of my favorite characters in Star Wars. I love the fact that she's a Force user, but, the Jedi expelled her wrongly, and they learned that they had done it in error, so they asked for her to come back in the Jedi Order. She said, nah, funk that. I respect that. I love the relationship that her and Anakin / her and Vader have. I love the fact that she uses 2 white lightsabers, not because they have white kyber crystals, but because she actually got crimson red crystals from a Sith Inquisitor that she beat, purified them, and now they're white. I mean, you can't get any more badass than that. So, to learn that she has a Disney Plus series coming has always excited me. Seeing her in the Book of Boba Fett, in was it the Mandalorian? Who knows at this point? Who cares at this point? Certainly not me. But nonetheless, seeing her already in Disney Plus shows, Star Wars shows, was awesome. So, eagerly awaiting the Ahsoka Disney Plus series, but we've not gotten a release date. In fact, we still haven't gotten an official release date, but thankfully, the actors that play these characters can have loose lips, and I don't know if that's exactly the case here, but nonetheless, Rosario Dawson, and I'm looking at an article here from CBR.com, Ahsoka gets a release date update from star Rosario Dawson. Dawson indicated that Ahsoka won't arrive on Disney Plus until late 2023 during an appearance on Today with Hoda and Jenna. Makes sense. A lot of Star Wars stuff gets released around Christmas time. That's when Book of Boba Fett had released. I believe Mandalorian Season 1 had released somewhere around there. A lot of Star Wars movies get released right around that time. So when this says late 2023, pretty darn sure this means that it's going to be a December near Christmas holiday release, which, that's very Star Warsy. So, again, not an official update or anything. This is just something that Rosario Dawson has divulged, but it makes a lot of sense, and I'm here for it. I cannot wait. Again, just love that character, and I just, hopefully we can kind of learn why she didn't have much to do with the sequel series. I don't know what the real story there is, but I would like to see them come up with some sort of narrative that just, lets us know that is she alive? Did she die? Was she a part of, that final battle in The Rise of Skywalker? We don't know right now, and so maybe we can just get a little bit more information about, again, one of my favorite Star Wars characters, Ahsoka Tano. So, she is awesome. Now, I am a huge Dungeons and Dragons fan. In fact, after about 6 or 7 years of not being able to play anymore, I'm actually in a new Dungeons and Dragon group, and we actually got to play last week, and I had a lot of fun. So, just reminiscing in my head about that. But of course, that makes me think of the new Dungeons and Dragon movie coming out, and then I learn that Paramount Plus has ordered an 8-episode run of Dungeons and Dragons live-action TV series. Now, I wonder if that's too much with a movie coming out, and I have trepidation toward the movie, toward this show, and that really stems from the fact that, like I said, I love D&D. And obviously everyone knows the movies that came out have been trash. So, that's only going to add to the anxiety that someone like me would have. But it also seems, at least with this movie now, we don't know about this TV series, but with the movie, they're not doing anything from the Forgotten Realms, R.A. Salvatore Drist stuff, which I'm a big fan of. So, and I don't see why they wouldn't do it, because it really makes for a perfect story, especially for nowadays. We talk about racial injustice and things like that. I think that would, the story of Drist, the story of the Dark Elves, in their Dark Elf society where the women, make slaves of the men, murder them if they want to, no problem. Like, you figure with Me Too and stuff like that, and all this female empowerment that's going on, that would actually be something that we would be really into. So, seeing this underground society of evil Dark Elf drow matrons, I remember Matron Malice, Matron Bainray, all these heads of homes that just. Again, it basically have, all the males are indentured slaves to them. The women rule that society. And that's not the whole story of Driss, but again, that's just something that I think would be very interesting. So we're not going to get that in the movie, but hopefully with this Paramount Plus series, man, I really hope and think that it would be a huge home run if they did it based off of R.A. Salvatore's Forgotten Realms characters, Driss, Catti-brie, maybe, even some Catterley, the cleric, or some stuff like that. So, hopefully that's what we're going to get, because that would be awesome. I think, people like me that are already fans of that source material would go apeshit. But I think a new generation being introduced to Drist and what he went through and what him and his friends go through, I think it would just resonate in a super, super huge way. So hopefully that is what this Paramount Plus series is all about. I know there's other Dungeons and Dragons storylines out there. So, if you've got some, storylines that you'd like to see adapted, whether it be in some sort of streaming show or another movie that comes out, I would love to hear it. Any other characters in the D&D realm that you would like to see highlighted in a updated medium outside of, like I said, my picks are Drist and that whole gang, but maybe you're a big, Catterley fan, or there's a big wizard, Elmond, Eldritch, something like that. I can't remember his name right now, but that's another, Elminster. There we go. I knew it'd come to me. Elminster. Elminster goes to hell. Lots of cool characters that hopefully they don't skip by when it comes to any more of these movies or shows, but you never know. You never know. Well, that is going to do it for this edition of the Omega Level Nerds. I do appreciate each and every one of you that has taken time to click on this video or download the podcast. I hope that I've been able to entertain you at least for a little bit. Hopefully, you're at work or something like that, and I can just help you get through your day just a little bit faster with hopefully bringing some interesting talk to you. If you're somebody that's listening to the show and you'd like to come on the show and talk, let me know. Tweet at me at Omega Level Nerds. Of course, you can check me out, my personal Twitter, at dsquare72. You can tweet at me there as well. And the show can be emailed omegalevelnerds@gmail.com. And hopefully, the next time you see me, which I can almost guarantee this, but obviously I'm going to be watching The Mandalorian. I'm going to be doing a show after every one of those shows. And if you can hear my voice and you are one of my podcast friends, either from Superhero Speak or Volsker or whomever, and you want to join me on those conversations, please let me know. I can talk. I like to talk, but I like to talk to people and not just to this microphone and camera. So let me know. Hey, thank you so very much, and hopefully I'll see you next time on the Omega Level Nerds.